Hi, I'm Riley Moynes, author of The 4 Phases of Retirement and its sequel, The 10 Lessons. We're speaking with people who are squeezing all the juice out of their retirement. People with widely divergent backgrounds, experience, and expertise. People with stories that can inspire and encourage you too to squeeze all the juice out of your retirement. Thanks for joining us for today's conversation. Here we go. My guest today is Brenda Andrews. Through the years, Brenda has had 5 different careers, including a time in accounting, owning a party store, owning an event planning business, and as an office manager. About 15 years ago, she moved to Bradford, Ontario. Having no friends in the area, she and her husband saw an ad in the local paper for a PROBUS Club. Knowing nothing of what PROBUS was all about, they went to an introductory meeting to find out more, and the rest is history. Brenda became the first president of that Bradford Club, where she served for 4 years. More recently, she has become a district director of PROBUS, where she's responsible for 33 clubs. Her job is to act as liaison between PROBUS Canada and her clubs, to help establish new clubs, to visit each club and provide assistance where possible. She has also recently become national treasurer for PROBUS. This lady is a dynamo. Brenda, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Brenda, let's talk about PROBUS. It's a great organization and one that is growing rapidly, and we really want to spend some time about that today because lots of people still don't know what PROBUS is all about. So let's focus on that.
Yep.
So let's start with the big picture. What is a PROBUS Club?
PROBUS is a club for retired and semi-retired people who have finished doing all their charity work and fundraising and just want to have fun. And that's all we do. We have a 2-hour meeting every month and we just have fun. We have a lot of interest groups. The interest groups are so much fun. There's wine tasting, appy parties, knitting, hiking, sewing, anything you can think of, euchre, anything you want to do, we do. All we do is have fun.
Now the constant though in a PROBUS Club is that each meeting has a speaker, correct?
Exactly. So what happens is, usually it's a 2-hour meeting. So the first half an hour is business. We talk about what's happening with our club, where we're going, what we're doing. The next half an hour is mingling, and we have coffee, tea, goodies, and people get to talk to each other who haven't seen each other for a month. Some of us who haven't seen each other for a month. Right. And then we have a speaker. And the speakers were anything from marijuana to authors, and most of them are dynamic. They are wonderful people, and we have about 45 minutes and then 15 minutes for questions and answers. Yeah.
Where did the name PROBUS come from?
PROBUS is professional business. How that started was in England in 1966. The Rotary Club there had gentlemen who they retired from Rotary and still wanted something to do. Right. So they decided that they would start a club. Okay. But they decided that they would have a luncheon, and that's how it progressed. And they just said professional business people because that's what it was in those days. Right. Now it's open to everybody, of course.
Right. Who is the ideal member of a PROBUS Club in your experience?
Anybody that's retired.
or semi-retired.
Even semi-retired, yeah. People love it. Well, there's so much to see and do, and people are just wonderful.
The club is growing not only across our country, but internationally. How many PROBUS Clubs are there currently in Canada, Brenda? Do you know?
In Canada, there's 255 clubs.
Right.
We have approximately 40,000 members.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's international as well. We're in, I think, 10 different countries. You can look that up on the global website that PROBUS has.
PROBUS.org.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, PROBUS.org will take you to the global.
Okay.
But anywhere in the world. For instance, if I wanted to go to Australia for a holiday, I could call somebody at PROBUS there and say, I want to come to one of your meetings, and we'd be welcomed with arms open.
Yeah, nice. Now, do PROBUS Clubs typically meet year-round, or are some of them seasonal, or what's your experience there?
90% are year-round. There are some that close 2 months in the summer, but most of us want to keep going, so we go 12 months out of the year.
Right. Now, you served as the first president of the Bradford PROBUS Club and helped to launch that club.
I
and
did.
Served as president for 4 years.
Yeah.
What were some of the major challenges that you encountered when you were trying to get it off the ground?
Well, in the beginning, it was the district director then that was opening the club. And he was asking for people to serve on the committees, treasurer, president, vice president, so on and so forth.
Right.
And of course, nobody put their hand up when he asked for president. And it was getting embarrassing because nobody would put their hand up. So
Right.
I put my hand up and I said, what does it entail? And he said, not much. I said, okay, I can do it. So I did.
Right.
And I couldn't find anybody to take over, and my club didn't want me to leave. They wanted me to stay on, and it's been the best experience of my life. I've met 150 new friends.
Right, wonderful.
Yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful because we moved to Bradford. We didn't know anybody,
Right.
even though my husband was born here. He all the friends he had who he went to school with, they'd all moved on and done their own thing.
Right.
So we were really at a loss. Our car was just going to Toronto every day because that's where our family and friends are.
Right.
But we finally found some friends up here. Now our kids say that we've deserted them, but we don't care. We're having a great time.
So what were some of the big challenges that you faced as you got the club launched?
Well, because we didn't know what PROBUS was, we had no idea, just the little tidbits that the director and other people were telling us.
Right.
We thought, well, we guess we better get out there and see what other clubs do. So that's what we did, because we sat stadium seating in the beginning, and we went to another club, and they had round tables and chairs. And I said, no, we're going to do chairs. This is much easier. Or tables, excuse me. This is much easier. You can sit there with your coffee, your tea. You can write notes. You can meet people around the
Conversation.
table.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was one of the things. The other was just learning what PROBUS does. And between me and my executive team, then and now, we're moving gangbusters. It's just they're just wonderful. Everybody's wonderful. You don't meet a miserable person in PROBUS. Everybody's happy because we don't have to fundraise. That's the most important thing out of the whole thing.
Okay, and that's a significant difference from some of the service clubs, right? That's their
Exactly.
function, and
Exactly.
yours is just not that.
No.
What were some of your big successes as you saw it in your presidency in the Bradford Club?
We've had a lot of good things. The Queen's Jubilee, for instance, we had a luncheon, and I made fascinators for most of the women in our club, and just had a big party. Everything was red, white, and blue. It was beautiful. We had a black and white dinner, and everybody dressed up in black and white, and we had a luau. I remember
you telling me about that.
Yeah,
one.
it was. We had at the local golf club here, and we had a pig roast. All the food. We did a lot of the food ourselves, and it was all Hawaiian food.
Right.
And we had leis for people to wear, and we even brought in Hawaiian dancers. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
How many members in your Bradford Club, and how is that number capped or determined?
There's a few reasons. We have 150 in our club, and we opt to leave it that way because it's more intimate and you get to know everybody.
Right.
There are clubs that have a heck of a lot more. I've got one it's not my club, it's in Collingwood, and they have 600 members.
Right.
I mean, but you don't get to see everybody or talk to everybody, and
No.
it's not a family. We're a family.
Right. And typically, what number of that total membership would turn up to a regular meeting?
Usually about 80%.
Wow.
We have a good turnout. We don't have people leaving, and we have another waiting list. Another thing that we did, we started a second club because we had such a big waiting list.
Right.
And now they've got a waiting list.
Wow.
So we're thinking of starting another one in Bradford.
Right. So waiting lists club membership, it can be determined, as you say, to maintain a feeling of family, but there are also some more technical limits as well, right?
For sure.
Based on your facility that just may not be able to accommodate any more than
Exactly.
a certain number.
Exactly. We meet at our local church, and the room it'll hold about 200 people standing.
Right.
But we don't want to do that. We want to be comfortable.
Right.
But the only problem is with that is our members don't leave. I'm only talking experience now from my club. They don't leave, so it's hard to get people to volunteer for all the positions that has to be done.
Right. Now, a little while ago, I'm not quite sure how long ago, you became a district director. Tell me how that evolved.
Well, what happens is a district director has a term of 3 years with an option of 3 more. So when our district director, his term was up, then they have to look for another one in the area, and it's done by ballot. And he asked me if I'd be interested in pursuing it, and I said yes, I would. And that's it, and that's how it evolved.
And you're in your first 3-year term, are you?
Yes, I've got 2 years under my belt, and in May it'll be into my 3rd.
Right.
Yeah.
But you still maintain your membership in your local club.
Oh yes, yes. You can belong to as many clubs as you want.
Yeah,
you
I
don't have to
understand.
belong just to one. It's great.
I understand. So, how widespread are these 33 clubs for which you're responsible?
My clubs go from Aurelia, from the north, to Clarington in the south, and to the east is Stouffville, and to the west is Richmond Hill.
Okay.
So it's a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
I have 10 clubs in Durham alone, so it makes it easier when I have to go down there. Try and do as many as I can down that way.
Yeah.
But I find it so rewarding. I've met so many wonderful people,
I can imagine.
and all these every club is different. They're all autonomous, so you can do as much as you want as long as you go by the guidelines of PROBUS Canada.
Yeah. And they're pretty broad.
Oh, pretty broad, yeah.
So part of your responsibility there is liaison, sort of connecting these clubs with the mothership.
Yes.
What's involved in that part of the work?
Well, if there's a problem, say we have insurance for everybody. Say if there's a problem with the insurance and they don't understand it, I have to find out and tell them what the difference is.
Right.
If there's a problem with a member, then we sit down and we discuss it. If there's problems getting volunteers, we discuss that, how about the best way to do things.
Right.
Usually I just go and say hello, and I present anniversary certificates. Like a lot of our clubs now are into their 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So we have to go and present certificates to them. And whatever they need, we're there for them.
Right.
Or I am anyway, I know that.
It's mostly a feel-good job, it
It
sounds
is,
like.
it really is, yeah.
Now, one of your responsibilities is to create or establish or help people who want to do so create these new clubs. So have you in your 33 clubs, you've no doubt spawned some others?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I came into it when the Uxbridge Club was starting up. So the director before me had done a little bit with them. And then I came in and I helped out with that. I have to be there when they have their inauguration. So I present them with their accreditation and so on and so forth. I have one story for you. It's mind-boggling. The club in Fenelon Falls have, I believe, around 400 members.
Wow.
And they had it could be a little bit less, I'm not 100% sure. They had a waiting list of 110 people. So one of the ladies that wanted to join the Fenelon Falls Club was on the waiting list, and she finally said one day, oh, to heck with this, I want to start a club. So we talked, we started a new club in Bobcaygeon. So help me, before the first meeting, they had 147 members signed up and paid.
Wow.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And what this lady has done is just tremendous. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She could help me still open up clubs everywhere. And right now I have 3 other ones that are in the works. We've got one for Newmarket. There is no combined in Newmarket. I guess I should go back and tell you about the kind of clubs there are. There are men's clubs, and there are ladies' clubs, and there's combined.
Right.
As I said before, when PROBUS started, it was all men's. But then the men didn't want the women. The women said, oh, to heck with you. We're going to start our own. And then couples wanted to.
Right.
Or singles or couples, whoever they wanted to join combined clubs. And that's how the combined came along.
Right. And are you aware currently kind of what are the men only or the women only or the mixed clubs, the majority of clubs to your knowledge or in your area? What's the trend?
The majority are combined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that are women's and the ones that are men's, they like it that way, and that's fine.
Yep.
They can do what they want.
Yeah.
If say I was in a ladies' club and a combined came up, I could join that with my husband if I wanted to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or by myself. I don't have to have a spouse to join any of these clubs.
Right. So it
I
is
should
quite
say that.
independent, and people
Yes.
can kind of do their thing.
Yeah.
Now, I should tell folks that I have a personal experience in which you were very helpful to me. I had been thrashing around for a year or so, attempting to get something going in Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Yes.
200,000 people, no PROBUS Club, and I was looking around at Burlington, 200,000 people, 4 PROBUS Clubs, and thought there just needed to be a place. And as I say, there was some wheel spinning went on, but then I got a call from Brenda one day, and Brenda asked me if I was still interested in working on this, and I told her that I was, and before long we had a club created. It's now just about a year old, and we've had to cap it as well at 150
Exactly.
members. So
It's marvelous, isn't it?
It is marvelous.
Yeah.
So that leads me to my next question, Brenda. So why is it that PROBUS clubs are so popular? They just seem to continue to pop into existence and to grow to maximum capacity. What is it?
I think a lot of it is when you're in an area, your friends move away, or God forbid they pass on, so you're left, and you can't meet people the same as you could when you had children that were in sports or dance or whatever it was that they were in.
Right.
So this is a good area to meet people
Sure.
of your own age, like-minded,
Yeah.
and you can do as much as you want or as little as you want.
Right.
You can be out doing something every day with PROBUS.
Right.
Or you can just go to their meetings, whatever you want to do.
Right.
But it just gives you the freedom to meet other people.
Right. And the membership is really very reasonable. I believe for most clubs it's about $50 a year.
It's anywhere from, some clubs are 30 and up to 50.
Right.
There is a few that are 60, but it all depends on the rent
Sure.
that you have to pay for your meetings.
But still, by many
it's-
standards, very
oh,
reasonable.
It's so reasonable.
Very reasonable.
Yeah.
Now, if you're interested in learning more about PROBUS, perhaps joining a club in your area or even starting a new PROBUS club, I'd recommend that you visit the website, probus.org.
Yes.
And you can get started there and maybe end up with some help from Brenda. Brenda, I want to switch gears here a little bit if we can now and ask you some of your own experience, kind of just conceptually. When you retired or stepped back from your many activities, your many kind of career activities, did you know that you would kind of head down this path, or did it just kind of emerge for you?
It just emerged. We were sitting here. I had gone through cancer, and we were sitting here thinking, well, gosh, what are we going to do? And my husband saw this ad in the paper,
Right.
and it said, no fundraising, just fun. So we said, oh, that's good for us. Let's go. And that's what we did, and that's how it started.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you're kind of up to your neck in PROBUS activities,
I am.
whether your own club or all the other clubs that you are taking care of. So, let me ask, what is there about this activity that is so meaningful to you, and what do you get out of it?
Oh, my gosh. Good question. Well, it's just the camaraderie. It's having people of the same age as you that can relate to different things or the same things as you, and they've grown up with you in the era that you have grown up in.
Right.
It's the camaraderie. I think that's the basic
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
Okay. The theme that we're working on in our podcast series here is called "Squeezing All the Juice Out of Retirement," and so when you hear that phrase, I'm interested in what it means to you. How does it resonate with you?
Well, when I first saw it, I thought, that sounds a little bit. But then I got thinking about it, and it's so true. I mean, I've been retired now for 15 years. I retired a little bit early. I'm not as old as I look. But I want everything you want to do, you can do. I mean, just you've got to get out there and do it, and it's just so much fun to be where we are today.
Right.
There's more baby boomers than there are anybody else at the moment. So when we're gone, God forbid, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because these younger people don't have the social skills. I shouldn't say skills. They don't have the social things that we did. We're always at dances and going here and going there. But the kids today, or the young people today, don't do that.
Right.
They're more on their devices. The younger ones, anyway.
Right. Well, when you think of the evidence that is pretty clear that there are 10,000 North Americans who retire every day and will today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day for about the next 10 to 15 years, there is a tremendous cadre of people who can take advantage of what PROBUS has to offer, not only now but down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
So people, you meet lots of people, and from time to time, probably somebody asks you what advice you would give to them so that they can too squeeze all the juice out of retirement. What advice do you give them?
Well, I say to them, and we have friends that don't belong to PROBUS, and I don't understand why, but I just say to them, join a club. You get so much out of it. You just even meeting people or listening to speakers. If that's all you want to do is listen to a speaker, that's fine too. Yeah. But just the camaraderie, like I said before, it's unbelievable. Our club is so noisy when you walk in there because people are talking so much. It's very hard to quieten anybody down. Yeah. You've been there,
I know. It's a wonderful club.
Thank you. And that's the goal for all clubs. And 90% of them are.
Yeah.
The trouble is getting volunteers. That's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to belong to a club, you should be able to volunteer. You should do something.
Right.
Because it's hard on the ones that have been there for so long that they need a change.
Sure. One of the big challenges, according to the research, is that so many people who are retired feel isolated.
Exactly.
And in some cases, it's as a result of illness or other circumstances. But in many cases as well, it's self-imposed. People just kind of don't do it. And this provides such a wonderful opportunity, an antidote to that feeling of isolation.
Exactly.
That it's got to be one of the attractive features of PROBUS membership, as far as I can see. So, Brenda, in what you're doing, what aspects of this phase of your life are you finding most gratifying and satisfying?
All of it. I love it all.
You love it all?
Oh, I do. Okay. I like being out there with everybody, but then I like to put my feet up when I come home because it is a lot of work.
Sure.
But I enjoy it. It's so gratifying to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm interested in do you have any idea? Well, I'm sure you do. How many hours a week do you do what you do between your 33 clubs and your own home club?
Well, it's hard to say. Some weeks you can do a couple of hours every day.
Right.
Some weeks you can do 1 day a week. It's as much as you want to put into it. Right. I do get a lot of emails and phone calls from my different clubs, so I have to look after that, and that's first and foremost. Mm-hmm. My club now, I just look after large events. I look after the parties.
Right.
So and that's right up my alley.
You and your friend are still working away at that.
Yes, we are. Yeah. We do have a lot of great parties.
So, Brenda, what aspects of this phase of your life are you finding most challenging? Or is it all just gratifying?
No, it's
it can't be all just gratifying. Come on.
No, it's not. You get tired sometimes. I'm getting up there, so I get tired, and I want to have time for myself. But then again, when I have time for myself, I want to be doing something else. So no, I don't know.
But you don't have any real rebels in your 33 clubs there?
Oh yeah, I've got a couple. Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about them.
Okay, all right. So you're obviously a busy and an active person. So let me ask you, what do you have planned for the future? How long are you going to stay involved with PROBUS, and do you have other things up your sleeve?
Well, PROBUS is, like I said before, it's a 3-year term with a 3-year option. So I'm coming up to, I've got 1 more year for my term for 3 years, and then I can renew for 3 more years if I want. And I can move up to secretary or vice president eventually if I want to. I don't know yet.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Depending on how life treats me.
Sure.
If I have my health and everything's good here, then I'll continue. If not, then we'll have to revisit that when I come up for my renewal.
Sure. If you didn't know your date of birth, how old would you be?
I'd be 35.
Good for you.
35 is...
Where does that one come
from? Well, because 35 is, you know what you're on this earth for. Your head is out of the clouds, and you can just move forward.
35.
That's I think, I like that age.
Perfect. Once again, if you'd like to learn more about PROBUS and perhaps joining a club or even starting a club, visit probus.org. Brenda, I want to thank you very much for spending time with me today. I've very much enjoyed it.
Thank you. Can I just give you one little antidote?
Absolutely.
About 7 years ago, my youngest granddaughter was 7, and I was out with her at a dance competition. She's a little dancer. And we were talking to one of the dance instructors, and one of the dance instructors said to me, "What is PROBUS?" And Taylor pipes up and says, "PROBUS is a club for old people with no jobs." It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
From the mouths of babes.
Yeah, out of the mouth of babes. And we use that for our mantra at our club.
I love it. You know, we're always interested in hearing from people who are squeezing the juice out of their retirement. And if that sounds like you, I'd love to hear from you, and perhaps we can share your story with our listeners. You can contact me by email, riley@squeezingthejuice.ca. I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation and that you'll join us again next time as we help you squeeze all the juice out of retirement. I'm Riley Moynes. Bye for now.